Always say something. A prize, motherfucker.
Leave me alone. Go out west. Give me your phone. Blow it down west.
What's going on, everybody? It's that ordinary podcaster with the extraordinary thoughts that tells you to stop being great and be extraordinary. I'm Demetrius Thigpen, also known as Meech Speaks, and welcome back to another episode of the Talking Crazy podcast. Now, before we get started with this podcast, don't forget to head on over to your favorite streaming platform, whether that's Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts, and leave this podcast an honest review, because this podcast deserves to grow just as much as we do. I'm almost set up, you know what I mean? Like, I'm almost set up, but as I look around, man, I still feel like there's some things that I can reorganize and I can add to it, you know what I mean? But I'm a firm believer that if I don't start now, then I'm never going to fucking start. You know what I mean? Like, if I keep waiting for perfection, then I'm never really going to start. If I keep waiting on, if I have the right thing, if I have the right setup, I'm never going to start. So I guess here we are. And I say that, man, because I feel like I kept putting off this break. I kept putting off coming back on the show. I felt like, oh, I don't have my lighting, I don't have this, I don't have that. And when am I ever going to have whatever I want? You know what I mean? And I really want to address this elephant in the room, man, because what started off as a small break turned into 3 months. And I ain't about to sit here and lie, you know what I mean, and say that, I took the break because of the simple fact that I felt like if I would have continued to move forward and try to push out content while I'm trying to move across the country and while I'm trying to learn a new job and try to graduate one school, that I will push out half-ass content. So I opted and I said, you know what, let me just go ahead and take a break, because I owe it to the people that turn my podcast on early in the morning, include me in their workouts, have invited me into their lives, have listened to me in their darkest moments. I owe it to them to produce quality content. So with that being said, good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. It's good to be back. I feel refreshed. I feel like the podcast, regardless of however we because right now, man, we ain't got exactly everything that we really need. You know what I mean? Like, you can't see it, but trust me, you know what I mean? Like, it's some things that I could still add in here that could really make the studio pop. But as we build up the studio, we about to go ahead and start pushing out this content, because these people, y'all need to hear this shit. You know what I mean? Like, somebody need to hear this. And one of the things that I really want to just address coming into this episode is that this episode is all about the lessons that I have learned throughout these entire 3 months. Now, for those who don't know, I recently graduated recruiting school. I did the best that I could to still stay active on Instagram to try to at least keep everybody updated with what's going on with me. You know what I mean? Because I didn't want to just disappear and then pop back up. Like, that's just crazy. That's wild. So I graduated recruiting school. I moved from Virginia to Arizona. I no longer work at the Martial Arts Center of Excellence. I work now in Phoenix, Arizona. And I'm going to tell you right now, I work in the hood. Okay? I'm going to just keep it a buck with everybody right now. I work in the hood. Okay? I thought that I would get sent to the suburbs. I kind of felt like I was going to get sent to the hood. And that's exactly where I got sent to. You know what I mean? So please understand that as the podcast, as we continue to keep pushing out episodes, you're going to start to hear a little bit of things that are just different about me. You know what I mean? I'm going to show up on my days where I feel down. I'm going to show up on my days when I feel up. I'm going to show up on the days where I feel like I just got into a fight with a bum. You know what I mean? And if you've been following me on Instagram, you know that part is true. You feel me? Like that right there did definitely almost happen. But with that being said, man, let's go ahead and get into today's episode. Now, as we dive into this episode, I really want to just start this morning off with a quote. And this quote really resonated with me. Now, I'm going to do the best that I can to share a quote with you every time we get on the episodes, because of the simple fact that if it resonates with me, I hope that it can resonate with somebody else. And this quote, it goes a little bit like this: how other people see me and what they feel about me is their business, not mine. And I'll say that again. How other people see me and what they feel about me is their business, not mine. Now, if you know me, you know that one of my first videos was about mind your own business. What people say about you ain't none of your business. How they feel about you ain't none of your business. You can't control what other people think. You can only control what you think. And if you're going to pray on it, that's God's business now. I don't worry about stuff like that. And this quote, it really resonated with me for the simple fact that a lot of times we go into these new situations worried about what other people think about you. I'm walking into it, and I'm saying it from my perspective because I'm walking into this new situation and I'm thinking that they think that I'm some Instagram influencer. They think that I'm full of myself. They probably think that I'm cocky. They think that I'm probably... Why am I worried about all that? Why am I worried about what other people think of me? I need to worry about what I think of myself. I need to be worried about how I feel about myself. What's the point of making everybody else happy if I'm going to be the one that's always upset? You know what I mean? I did the best that I could to make everybody else happy, but at the end of the day, I'm the one that's left unhappy. I put everybody else's feelings, thoughts first, but I never considered my own. So this quote, it really resonates because that's their business. That ain't mine. I can only control how I feel, what I think. Everything else, that's their business, not mine. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into today's episode. So the first lesson, and just like what I had mentioned very early on in this episode, each lesson that I have learned throughout this entire break, I'm going to share. And the first one is stop romanticizing past experiences and focus on creating new ones. Now, this one right here, this one hit home because of the simple fact that if you know me, then you know that I've been trying to get back into California for the longest. Now, when I was in California, I was talking cash shit about being in Cali. You know what I mean? I used to say the drivers couldn't drive. I used to say In-N-Out sucked. I used to say all type of things. You know what I mean? And when I left California and came to Virginia, I felt like I was in purgatory. I'm telling you, I felt like I was in purgatory. They tell you that Virginia for the lovers is for the losers. I promise you that. And every time somebody would say, how am I enjoying it here? I would tell them that I'm serving a sentence. I can't wait to finally be free. And then I finally go back to California. And it wasn't like how it was when I first left. And when I left, it was in 2020. When I left, I was just getting started with podcasts, and I was just getting started with content creating. I felt like everybody would welcome me back with open arms. And I'm not going to say that it wasn't love, but it just wasn't what I remembered. And, I bring that up, man, because a lot of times, and I know there's some people right now that probably have taken leave and went back home and it felt the exact same thing. Like, damn, it was love when I left. Like, don't get me wrong, it's love right now, but it's not necessarily the same. Everybody too busy, or everybody's got this going on, or, I kind of feel a little bit out of place. And that's kind of how I felt. And I remember sitting in my room, man, and I was just like, dog, like, life goes on, bro. You know what I mean? The people that you probably know, man, they either done gotten out of the military, PCS, or they done moved on in their lives. They no longer even in that space. Like, it's been 3 years, and a lot of times, man, like, we will romanticize the fuck out of a past experience for the simple fact that it was a past experience and we had such a good time there. But the thing is that if you live in the past, bro, you never gonna be in the future. You feel me? Like, if you constantly looking back, man, like, you never gonna see what's in front of you. So that's exactly what I told myself. I said, Meech, man, like, you can't worry about what it was when you was here last time, bro. You here right now. You might as well go ahead and make connections now. And that's exactly what I did. People that I had been wanting to talk to, I reached out to them. I said, hey, fuck it, let's lock in. Hey, you got a podcast now? Well, fuck it, let me get on the show. Matter of fact, let you hop on the show. And I did everything to enjoy myself. Because if I sat back and I focused on what it could have been or what it used to be, I wasn't going to have a good time. So I made sure that I gave myself that opportunity to create new experiences. I made sure I gave myself that opportunity to create new memories. And I don't know who need to hear that, man, but give yourself the chance to create new experiences. Fuck the old ones. You know what I mean? And I don't mean for all the profanity, but screw the old ones. The old ones are the old ones, man. Like, you have so much opportunities to create new experiences, new bonds, new friendships. Shit, man, I even squashed the damn beef. while I was out there. And that wasn't even on my bingo list. You know what I mean? But I gave myself that opportunity to create new bonds and what is it? Amend new relationships. And I will say this: stop romanticizing old experiences and focus on creating new ones. Now, the next lesson, and when I say lesson, man, I don't mean that from some like hot horse, bro. Like, if you know me, you know I don't mean it from there. But these are really lessons to myself. But the grass is greener where you water it. Now, I remember when I first heard that quote, and I really didn't understand exactly what it meant, man. But the first time I heard it was from RT. RT always used to say that the grass is greener where you water it. Now, just to go back to what I was saying, I hated being in Virginia. Couldn't stand being in Virginia. Matter of fact, Virginia is probably the last place that I will ever go back to. And I'm going to stand on business when I say that. But I've spent so much time looking over the fence, looking at other people's grass. I spent so much time looking at other ways to get out of that situation that I feel like I didn't give myself the opportunity to focus on watering the grass that was in front of me. And it hit me on the moment that they handed me my plaque, and I realized that chapter was over with. As I was saying my goodbyes, I started to get this sudden regret, like this thing of remorse. I realized that I could have spent so much more time rather than complaining about how much I can't wait to leave. I feel like I could have used that time to really enjoy where I was at, or to find love. And I'm not saying that I completely hated it, man. Like, I've made friendships that will last a lifetime there. I've gotten opportunities that I never thought that I would ever get, but I will always have this feeling in the back of my mind that I just did not like being there. And I don't know who need to hear this, man, but I know it's somebody right now that's driving to a job that they don't want and they can't stand to go there. You know what I mean? And they say every single day that they can't wait to leave. They can't wait to do this. They can't wait to do that. But I'm going to tell you this right now, man. Focus on watering it right now. Focus on watering the grass in front of you. You know what I mean? Because you're going to go on to the other side and you're going to assume that grass is going to be greener, but then you're going to be let down when it's not what you expected it to be. I'm going to just be honest with you. You're going to be let down when you get there and you realize that where you left was actually better. Where you left, you had gotten into a routine, but a lot of times we don't realize, that's the best word for it, we don't realize the things that we have because it's not really a big deal to us no more. We take for granted the little things in our lives, and then when they're finally gone, we realize, like, damn, man, like I actually kind of missed that. Going from being in the fleet, or at least not necessarily being into the fleet, but I mean, I was at a schoolhouse to going on an SDA. I can tell you right now, oh my God, I don't know why I let some of y'all talk me into this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why I let some of y'all hype me up and talk me into this, because I had at least like an hour and a half chow. You know what I mean? I had the weekends off. I knew that I was, if we was working late, it was till 6. Now here I am somewhere where we work until 9 o'clock. Come on. The weekends don't ain't even a thing. You know what I mean? The grass, it's greener where you water it. It's not always going to be greener on the other side. And I bring that up because that is definitely something. Don't get me wrong, I'm going to water it. You know what I mean? Like, one thing I'm going to do is water the grass. But I'm just letting you know that I thought I hated Virginia. I thought I did, but it's not. I probably would go back. I probably will go back eventually. Now, the next one, man, and this is something that I'm still focusing on. It's great to have a timeline, but you don't have to rush it. And I'll say that again, but it's great to have a timeline, but you don't have to rush it. A lot of times, man, we come into these situations and we say that we say that we're going to be good immediately. We say that we're going to do this by this time, and then we beat ourselves up when we don't reach that. We have this idea that we're already going to go into the situation knocking shit out the park. You know what I mean? We say that we're going to be moving at this certain speed, but when it does not go that way, we feel like we're failing. We feel like we're behind. We feel like we're not up to par. We feel like all of these negative things. But the reality is, man, is that it's great to have a timeline, but it's not nothing that you need to rush. It's not. If it's not pressing, if it's not priority, if it's not life-threatening, there ain't no reason for you to rush it. And that's one thing that I have to constantly practice with myself. I constantly sit back and I tell myself all the time that I need to be doing this, I need to be doing that, I need to have this done, but who am I rushing? The only person I'm rushing is myself. And I know it's somebody right now, man, like I'm not saying to not focus on your goals. I'm not saying to not make progress. I'm not saying to continue to move forward. What I'm saying is stop putting these unrealistic deadlines on yourself when you know that that's not real. And if you think that I'm playing, man, like if you heard somebody else with these type of deadlines, you would say that that's unrealistic. So if it's unrealistic for everybody else, why the fuck is it realistic for you? This was something that I had to really tell myself. And I was sitting there in California, and I remember when the gunning board came out. And my name wasn't on it. And I'm going to just keep it a buck with you. My name wasn't on it. And if you know your name wasn't on it, then you know you got to pee. And it is what it is. And when I found that out, man, I remember sitting there saying to myself, like, damn, bro, like I'm a fucking failure. I failed. Like I'm now behind everybody. How can I get to this point right here? You know what I mean? And I sat with that feeling for a couple of minutes. Shit, I'm lying, man. I sat with that feeling for a couple of hours. About a day and a half. All right, there it is right there. I sat with it about a day and a half. And I realized, man, like, bro, you stressing yourself out, man, over a timeline that ain't even realistic, bro. Okay, you took a pee, bro. Does that mean that you just gonna stop? You see what I'm saying? Because you didn't meet the time, that means that you just gonna stop making progress? You gonna stop getting better? Okay, so it wasn't your moment right now. Ain't no rush, bro. Ain't no rush. Because if you continue to keep applying pressure, eventually it's going to get there, right? Like you just not all of a sudden not going to get it. And I don't know who need to hear that, bro. Like, I don't know who needs to hear that, but just because you don't make it to the timeline that you have created in your head, that don't mean that you a failure. Just because you didn't make it to the timeline that you created in an unrealistic timeline, not to mention, that don't mean that you can't do it. That don't mean that it's not possible. That don't mean that it's a no, it's a not yet. It's not at this time. So once again, and I'll say this one, man, and I'll say this wholeheartedly, it's okay to have a timeline, but you ain't got to rush it. And this one right here, this is something I have to constantly keep telling myself. If you've never experienced it, then you don't have experience in it. And I'll say that again. If you've never experienced it, then you don't have experience in it. And I bring that up, man, because it's so easy to assume that you're going to be good at something because of your attributes, your talents, your skills. But if you've never experienced it, then you don't have experience in it. So when you fail at something that you've never experienced, it's okay because you've never fucking experienced it. It was new. But see, the problem is, Demetrius, and I'm talking to you on this one right here, is that you walk into situations thinking that you about to knock them out the park. Meanwhile, you don't even know how to hold the fucking bat. You have never held one before, but you think you about to hit a home run. Demetrius, you think that you about to ace the test. You don't even know what the fuck the material is, but because you have aced other tests, you have this confidence about yourself. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with your confidence. I'm just saying that you've never experienced it. And when you fail at something that you've never experienced, you have the audacity to be upset about something that you have not experienced yet. What I'm really saying, man, is allow yourself to fucking fail. Okay? Give yourself the same grace that you give everybody else. Give yourself the same permissions that you give everybody else. Give yourself the same chance that you give everybody else to learn it. I get it. If it's been 6 months and you still making the same mistakes, okay, you need to lock the fuck in. But when you first walk into it, if you've never experienced this, you don't have experience in it. So allow yourself, man, to take a step back, learn it, focus, fine tune. Shit, man, you the new guy. I don't care how long you been in. You the new guy. Swallow your pride. Ask questions. Constantly ask questions. And you know how I feel about the word be humble, but at some point show some type of humility and just suck it up and just say, like, dog, I've never experienced this before, but I'm willing to learn because I don't have experience in this. Now, the next one, people are expecting you to be yourself. So just be it. And you know what's so crazy is that I sit back and I ask myself, like, these topics are very self-explanatory or very simple, but the reality is that sometimes the most simple thing can be the most complex to everybody. But people are expecting you to be yourself. All right, now whatever they may view you, how they may perceive you, that's just them seeing you as yourself. So show up as yourself. You ain't got to show up as some random person that they think you are. You ain't got to pretend to be somebody or change who you are or put on this persona so you can fit in. Just be yourself. And this was something I learned in 2022. You do everybody a disservice when you show up inauthentic. They have spent this entire time trying to form a friendship with somebody that's not even real. They expect you to be themselves, be yourself, because they are showing up and they're going to be themselves. So why are you hiding and trying to pretend to be somebody that you're not? I understand that you're probably scared. You want to be accepted. You want to be a part of the team. But what's the point of being a part of the team if you're not even who you portray yourself to be? You spend this entire time pretending to be somebody and then you go home exhausted, upset because who you really are, you formed a connection with somebody and they're forming it with somebody that's fucking inauthentic. Nah, man. So I'll say this. People are expecting you to be yourself. So just be it.
And just like that, another extraordinary thought left this ordinary mind. I hope you enjoyed this episode half as much as I enjoyed making it. Don't forget to head on over to your favorite streaming platform, whether that's Apple Podcasts or Spotify Podcasts, and leave this podcast an honest review because this podcast deserves to grow just as much as we do. Also, don't forget to head on over to TikTok or Instagram and follow me at Meech Speaks. That's right, Meech Speaks. Meech is spelled M-E-E-C-H. Stay motivated, stay healthy. I'm out.